Hello everyone, Scott Minto here. Hope you're keeping well and safe during these very strange times indeed. Look, I'm really pleased to be joined by AFC Wimbledon captain Will Nightingale for the EFL and Minds Inside the Mind Of series for Mental Health Awareness Week. Will, how are you? You looking well?
Yeah, all good, Scott. It's a pleasure to be here. So obviously tough times at the minute, like you said. But apart from, I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling good. How are you?
Good. How have you been finding lockdown?
Uh, as a lot of people can imagine, I've had my up and down days. So I think me and the missus have gone a bit paint crazy. We've painted nearly every wall in the house at the minute. So I don't know how long it'll be until football resumes, but I can always fall back on painting and decorating, I reckon now. But we've also just got a puppy as well. So very hands-on with that at the minute, although it's not ideal that I've got big ears for him to take chunks out of. But apart from that, I'm feeling positive, I'm feeling good, and I'm trying to keep in an upbeat spirit.
We've got a cockapoo, 10 months old. What's your breed?
Oh, cockapoo as well. What are the chances?
Really?
Yeah.
Really? They're a
Yeah.
lovely breed, I have to say.
Yeah, they're brilliant. So this is my first ever dog. I've always wanted a dog since I've been little, and my missus has been used to them. So just got a cockapoo. It's like a rusty colour, but he's lovely. Apart from all the biting and the nipping, as you know what it's like with a puppy stage.
Know exactly what it's like. Although we got quite lucky with ours, actually. There's only 2 or 3 nights overnight where it made a bit of noise, and the rest of the time just waits until we get up, which isn't always school time at the moment, even though it should be with 3 young kids. I mean, look, what are the good things for you, and what are the bad things right now with lockdown?
So obviously I'm missing football. That's a big passion of mine, and that, yeah, I mean, I'm missing that. Another tough thing is obviously not being able to be in contact with my family, but I'm trying to use this time as a positive to speak to them as much as I can. So I'm popping over to my parents and just speaking to them from a distance at the driveway just to check up on them most days, ringing them as much as I can. So yeah, I mean, obviously it's a tough time for everyone. It's new. We're all not too sure with how we should be going about this. But one thing I've been trying to do is make sure that I'm productive with my days. I try and make sure I get something done early in the morning, which sets me up for the day to obviously try and feel like I've accomplished something. It could be anything, whether it be meditating or, yeah, anything, speaking to family, more friends. Like I said, yeah, I've been painting the house a lot. So, but yeah, no, there's some tough moments where boredom kicks in, and obviously, like I said, not seeing your family, but you just got to keep reminding yourself you will get out of this at this time, so just try and take any sort of benefit you can from it as possible.
I wouldn't say our house is falling apart right now, but could do with a lick of paint. So we'll promise you I'll be 2 meters away if you want to come over any time. You're not a million
Bring
miles
the
away
bus
from
over.
me. But you touched on the football there. What have you missed most about football, the club, the lads, the dressing room?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, I think obviously as you'll know what it's like being in and around the boys in the dressing room, just the good spirit of all the changing room camaraderie, really. So I think we've got a really good team spirit. There's not one bad lad that's a bad egg, so to speak. We all get on really well, and I just miss that interaction with all the boys, obviously, in the change room. Obviously, when you get in for training, you normally have a good hour or two where you have a bit of breakfast, you socialise, and there's just so many different characters involved that it's so refreshing that you get to be around them all every morning, really. But in all fairness, even though we've been furloughed, we've actually been making sure that we've been getting onto Zoom sessions just so we can keep our general strength up. So we've still been enjoying that side of it, really, keeping in
You
touch.
do that together as the lads, or is that with the gaffer as well?
I mean, they've kind of recommended it to us, so we've kind of just taken it off our own bat. And the gaffer's been good, to be fair. He's been in good contact with us all. He's had good communication with us, even though it's a time where there's not too much information. And I think he's popped in on a couple, not all of them. So I think he's been busy with gardening, he said on a Sky Sports interview. So everyone's doing those odd bits and jobs.
I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the season, I mean, punching above your weight, I think it's fair to say, just to be in League One. Last season just about survived. And you were player of the season, weren't you? How did that go for you personally and as a team?
Yeah, that was a very interesting season. It felt like it went on and on and on, just like this period at the minute. But yeah, I mean, we were all ecstatic how we stayed up on the last game of the season. Really, I think it's a great experience for my career, and I look back on it now, and I wouldn't change anything, just because I learned so much from it. And most of the lads, there's a few of the lads in our team that have actually had promotions, and they actually said they enjoyed that more than they have promotions, which is quite a funny thing, really. I think just because we were so far out of it, February time, was it 10 points off to actually come back, and I think we only lost one in the last 15 or whatever it was brilliant for us. Like you said, I think we probably are punching above our weight in terms of, obviously, back in League One in such a short amount of time since reforming as a club. But I mean, me as a player, personally, individually, obviously I want to set my standards as high as I can. So I look back on seasons where we'd finished in the lower half of the table, and I've not really been happy. But getting player of the season was massive, massive achievement for me, especially as it was my first season as captain as well. So yeah, a lot to learn from last season, and a lot to put me in good stead to kick on with my career when it all resumes again.
What did you learn? I mean, the lads were saying, the ones who had experienced promotion, that perhaps more of a sense of satisfaction of staying up. I bet they didn't say that beforehand, because promotion is a lot more enjoyable than relegation. But what did you personally learn from it?
I think really just to never give up, really. No matter how bad things can be, you can always turn it around. I mean, there was a lot of people that wrote us off around February time. Like I said, we were so far out of it, so far adrift. I think a lot of people did write us off. And it's funny, I always look back to it, and I never really remember turning around and saying to anyone, or going through my mind, that's it, we're down, we're out. And I know that does sound silly, but I think a lot of people, it does automatically, you may even have those doubts, and you think, oh, we are in trouble. It almost like Southend a little bit this season now. They've had a lot of trouble, and you are going to naturally get a little bit of those doubts. But I remember thinking back and thinking game at a time. And when I play football, I think there must be a lot of players that are like it, but when I play football, I go out and I want to win every game. It doesn't matter who I play against. You want to win. So I think we took it game by game, and we went on a great run at the end of the season. And obviously, thankfully, we stayed up, and it just goes to show, never give up on something until it is, mathematically over. Just never give up on something. Always have that faith and that belief, and the rewards will come in the end.
And it's a club you care about a lot, clearly. You've been there since you were 8 or 9. Were you a Wimbledon supporter?
I don't think I was initially. I think there could be a few Wimbledon fans after me after I say this, but I was a Chelsea fan.
Were you? I won't be after you for that.
Yes, my mum and dad obviously were Chelsea fans, so I kind of grew up with football. My mum loves football just as much as my dad. And so, yeah, I think obviously I joined because it was a local club to me at the age of 8, like you said, and kind of I mean, obviously I think it was AFC Wimbledon's second ever season when I joined when I was young. And as I kind of got older, the club had promotions, and it got to the stage where then obviously got offered a scholarship, and my pathway's just kind of been mapped out for me. But I do think I've begun to support Wimbledon around the scholarship days, maybe just before, because I've always gone and watched the games ever since I was a little age. So, but yeah, it does hold a special place in my heart. They've been very good to me, and I always want to repay them for showing so much faith in me.
Is it fair to say you've done that already? You've rejected, you don't have to mention clubs, but interest elsewhere that's gone on to stay with a club that you clearly do care about a lot?
Yeah. So obviously, like you said, there has been little bits of interest along the way, and there's been some tough moments where I wasn't sure whether I was going to stay or not. But I think the way I look at it, I've not really felt satisfied with the mark and the impact I've left so far. I don't know if it's that I always feel like I should be doing more, but I mean, I think that in life anyway, you can always improve. I'm always trying to improve my own game, and I think you can always improve no matter what you're doing, what job, you as a person, anything. So I don't know if it's that kind of mindset or what, but yeah, I don't really feel like I've left the mark that I would have wanted to as of yet. So me and the Wimbledon story continues.
Sounds like you've got a really good mental attitude, and we'll come on to the mine in just one second. Just one more question in terms of the football front. Who are the players you look up to, you aspire to be?
I've always admired Poyol as a player. I think just his heart and his passion and his desire.
You haven't got his hair.
No, well, saying that, I did grow it out a couple of years ago.
Just have to look for a picture of that.
Oh, I got a lot of stick for it, so I had to get rid of it when it was getting in the way of my eyes. So I need to focus on the ball more. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's quite a few of the Barcelona players I quite admire. People like Busquets and that. People, I mean, I just enjoy people that are going to keep possession, really, so not give it away unnecessarily. So I think a few of those players I look up to. I mean, I know Puyol doesn't play anymore, but he was probably one of my idols growing up.
And arguably Barcelona's greatest ever captain as well. I covered La Liga for Sky Sports for 4 years, and
oh wow, yeah,
watching him play and being paid to watch Barcelona play week in, week out was an absolute joy. You mentioned there about your own worst critic. You know, can you be hard on yourself, a bit too hard sometimes, a perfectionist?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'll try and, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I've inherited that from my dad or not. He's my biggest fan, but he's also my biggest critic as well. So, yeah, after every game, I think I do always try and analyse where could have I gone better, how can I improve, and I always think you should never have to learn something more than once. I mean, obviously you need to repetitively practice a lot of things, but if you do something wrong, you need to address that and you need to cut it out as soon as you can, really. I do like to analyse things, and I do like to assess what the manager likes, what he doesn't like. If I notice that he's got onto somebody else about something, I think, right, and make sure I'm not going to do that. So, yeah, I probably am at times too critical of myself and need to enjoy it more.
Yeah, it's not always to do when you want to be a professional, you want to be the best. I can do 9 good things out of 10 and 1 bad thing, and I'll think about the bad thing. But the important thing is to not let that bother you, and just to put it to one side afterwards. But it takes time. It definitely does. How have you looked back yourself, both professionally and personally, within this time during lockdown?
Like I said, I tried to be productive. I tried to be upbeat. So I just try to make sure that I'm always going to do something where I can think, oh, okay, I've done something today and I feel good. Whether it be go on walks, whether it be, like I said, the painting and just little jobs and helping around the house. So, I mean, yeah, it is a time where we do have a lot of time on our hands. So I would urge people to use it as productively as they can. I know it's tough and I know it's hard and I know there's a lot of things on people's minds. But at the same time, you've got to try and take a positive out of every situation. Obviously, some situations are harder than others, such as this one. But if you can try and gain something from this time, then yeah, hopefully it'll just, you can appreciate it in the long run, really. And I do think that obviously when life does resume to begin back to normal, then maybe we will appreciate just the little things that little bit more as well. And I know there's been a lot of generosity being going around and a lot of people helping out each other, and I think that's brilliant. I think everyone needs to try and help out and do their bit, whether it be even just being in contact with someone. I know I've rang up a few Wimbledon fans that are above the 70 age category, and just to try and see how they're getting on. And at first I was a bit like, I don't know these people, but at the same time, just speaking to them, I felt so refreshed afterwards and I felt so good in myself. And just to try and lift someone a little bit is such a good feeling. So yeah.
Yeah, I've NHS volunteer a couple of, probably about a month ago now. I think I'm close to 100 hours being on duty. I've not had the call as yet. But wow. For Charlton, the club I know really well as well, they've asked me if I would do an online quiz, which I am doing every week. Spoken to a few people as well, like yourselves, Charlton fans are on their own. So what advice would you give to people? Whether it be seeing people at a distance, whether it be talking to people, whether it be physical activity, what advice would you give to try and stay, as positive as possible during this difficult time?
I think obviously a big one, I think, is speaking to family, really. your family's so important. They're always going to be there for you, to support you. So I think you kind of need to also do the same and also have that support for them as well. It's a tough time for everyone. No matter how positive somebody's feeling, no matter how upbeat somebody's feeling, I think it is a tough time. It's an unknown time that we're not used to, a lot of us. And I do think just that interaction, whether it be 5 minutes or 10 minutes, just try and keep in touch with people, make sure that they're getting on okay. And I do think you've just got to keep reminding yourself, we will get through this time together. So you just got to think this isn't permanent. Eventually we will get back to normal. So we just need to try and, well, adapt really. We need to adapt to the situation as best as we can, understand that it's happened. And one thing I always like to think is, it's not the only thing you can control in life, is how you respond to it. So we can't actually do anything at the minute, but what we can do is how we respond to it. And if you can use your time productively, just work on yourself as a person. I know when everything was normal, I'd always try and work on my footballing skills. And now I'm going to try and work on myself as a person, whether it be just thinking in my mind, keeping that active, or whatever it may be, whatever interests you. Hopefully some people can try and find an interest, learn a new language, meditate, I don't know, sit in the garden, enjoy the fresh air, whatever it may be. There's so many different
painting.
Yeah, bits of painting. My mum's going to be out in the garden now. She's been on at me trying to order her soil, and I finally got it for her. So she's going to be enjoying the gardening over the next week or two, keep her ticking over. So yeah, find that interest, find something that you may want to do or may wanted to have done in the past that you can't, and use this time to get involved with it.
In terms of music, what type of music are you into? Do you listen to music as well to keep you positive?
Yeah, so to be fair, I've got quite a bit of a diverse range. So I like all different types. I like old school. I like a bit of the 80s, to be fair.
Nice. When I was around.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously in the change room, there's a lot of times where we got the R&B and garage on, and I don't mind that. Obviously, it's different scenarios, so it may get you a bit upbeat for a game. So, but yeah, I mean, listening to music. To be fair, I've had some sessions in the garden, just some core workouts, and I'll get the stereo going. I don't know how my neighbours feel about it, but yeah. So listen to music. That can make people feel good. Music's a powerful thing, and it can make people feel good. So, what sort of music are you into then, Scott?
I'm into the 80s music as well. I was there first time around. But I also like house music.
Yeah.
Go to Ibiza, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, that.
And it's just so cool. Some people have a bad idea of what Ibiza is about, and there are parts of it, but there are parts of it anywhere, and you go on holiday, and even in London. But you go to the right places, and it's really cool, really good vibe. Yeah, definitely. So I'm quite diverse in that, I have to say. I mean, you mentioned about having a conversation with different people. I know there's a campaign with Mind, isn't there, about have your mates back. You know, very important to have that kind of discussion. It doesn't always have to be about your mental health. It can be about anything, football, painting, just having a bit of a laugh and staying positive.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, the campaign, the Have Your Mates Back, it's a new campaign that Mind have done. And like you said, people should be in touch with that, whether it be speaking about anything. You can have a conversation about anything, really. Hasn't got to be about the dark times. I know at the minute it probably does take over a lot of conversation, and I think that's something that I do try and do as well. I do try and distract myself from everything that's going on, because sometimes you can get caught up in it. So yeah, have a chat about football, old times, old memories, whether it be old holidays in Ibiza, or whatever it may be. That'll definitely make some people feel good. So maybe not. Don't think about it too much, otherwise it can get you a bit down. But
yeah, I don't think it's going to happen this year.
Yeah, I know. It's unfortunate. It really is a big shame. So, I mean, me and my sister have said to my mum and dad, as soon as we can, we're going to get a family holiday sorted together. We try and do it once every year. So, we will all go on holiday again. It's not looking positive for this summer. So, but we just got to remember we will get there again. So just remember the memories maybe for now. But yeah, we can talk about anything like you said, and just try and have a laugh, and just try and make light of certain situations.
Is managing mental health a new thing for you? And I know it's kind of not, because we've all had injuries as players, but you've probably had injuries for about 6 or 7 players, really, haven't you? Considering the operations you've had.
Yeah, I've had a bit of bad luck, and I've had a bit of a reputation as injury prone over the years, and I've tried so hard to just try and get rid of that name, really, that reputation. And I can understand why it has followed me round, really. But yeah, I think my involvement with mental health has definitely increased within the past couple of years. My knowledge of it has definitely widened, and I think it probably has been the experiences of the injuries, like you said, that has kind of steered me to that direction to try and help out in any way I can. I think, yeah, over the past 6 or 7 years, I've had 6 operations, some bigger than others, and injuries do happen. And I've worked hard to try and overcome some of those problems. And but to be fair, I feel fit now, I feel strong now, and I feel probably the best I have in my career, really. But I've had some dark times where I've probably taken things out on friends or those close to me, really. But whenever I've been injured, I've always thought to myself, right, how can I learn now? I'm missing all of the training, all of the technical side of things, which I love and I enjoy, but I can't actually improve there. So what other area can I improve on? So whenever I watch a game, I would always study, when I've been injured in the past, always study a centre half from both teams, and I've studied them. What are they doing well? What are they not doing well? What have I got to cut out? So I think, right, I can learn in that. I've got time to prepare myself for when I'm back. So I make sure in that time, I'm going to make sure when I come back to training, everybody's going to think, wow, he's not looked like he's been out. So I do think I can try and relate that to life as well. You always try and take a positive out of every situation and improve where you can. So yeah, it's been tough, but I think it's put me in good stead, really. The fact I've had tough times, as everyone has, and those experiences test you as a person and a character, and makes you who you are, really, doesn't it?
It does, without a doubt. Do you feel the experiences you've had has helped you be even more positive in a situation like this than perhaps you would have been otherwise?
I think so. Yeah, I think because I've been tested in the past before. I think when I've been injured, I think one of the things that always went through my head is there's worse things that could be happening in life, which obviously this is probably one of them, because your health and your family is more important, really. So I've always thought when I've been injured, it is a temporary thing. I will get back to football, but there are more important things that go on in life. And at the minute, obviously, we've all got to look out for one another and seeing our family through to the other side. I know it's a very serious thing at the minute because lives are being taken, but hopefully we can all get through to the other side with our loved ones. And you've just got to think there are worse. Well, for some people, maybe not so much, but it's tough at the minute. But you've got to think there's always someone out there that could be having tougher times, really. So you've got to try and be strong for yourself and try and set an example, really, to those around you. No matter who you are, you could be liked by a neighbour, you could be watched by a neighbour, or whoever it may be. So you've got to try and be a role model for people that you don't even know you're being a role model for.
Yeah. Watch out for those nosy neighbours, Will, won't you? No, the way you come across, I mean, it's like you're, I'm not going to say my age, but, a very experienced guy. You've clearly gone through a lot. You think about life as well as football. And, I can see why you're the captain of your club without a doubt. But
Not seen play yet. You may change your mind after that.
Listen, player of the year last season, clearly you're right up there. And as I say, the way you come across as a person, the way clearly I can see, I've come across lots of people both on and off the pitch. Some talk a good game, and it's about making sure that you lead by example first, and then the vocal side comes after that, and you clearly do that. I can see why Mind has got you as an ambassador as well. How do you feel about being an ambassador for Mind?
I feel privileged, really. I feel honoured because I'm still young in my career, and I do always have the thoughts of I need to set something up for after football, really. So when I was first approached by them, and well, initially I had my club contact me saying that they had an event going on called Get Set to Go, and this was probably around a year or two ago. It was actually at Charlton's training ground, the event. Lovely training ground. That do you get down there much anymore?
Not very often anymore, but it's the same training ground as when I was there in the 80s as well. So it's changed around inside, but it was, even in the 80s, it was a very good. I went to Chelsea afterwards, and believe me, the training ground there was a downgrade compared to Charlton's. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I love Charlton. It's just the open space of it. So
Mm.
much area there, isn't there? It's lovely. So yeah, I did the get set to go, and just looking around and seeing some of the kids there involved and how happy they are. It just gives you a good feeling that you can try and help out in any way you can. So since then, they've actually been in contact with me and asked me to be an ambassador, and I felt so proud. Obviously, straight on the phone to my mum and dad, let them know, and obviously they're proud as well. And it's brilliant. Obviously, I'm still new to it. I'm still learning. And I'm still trying to gain off of every experience I can. But sometimes experiences are tough, and I think you just got to dive in head first. And if you don't get it right the first time, you go again and you learn from it. You get better with it, really. So anything that they need me to help out with, I'm more than happy to offer my assistance and my help, even if I'm not as useful as I can be, as what I'd like to be. But yeah, like I said, I'm improving every time I do certain events and interviews, and I'm honoured to be part of it.
Again, that's the perfectionist in you. I'm sure you come across really well. You'll go away thinking, oh, I should have said this, or why did I say this? But trust me, life is a learning experience. So enjoy the journey as much as the destination.
Yeah.
Do you feel now, I mean, obviously I'm not in the dressing room nowadays, but when I was, mental health there wasn't really an issue, or you wouldn't talk about it anyway. Do you feel within the dressing room or just in football generally now, it's okay to talk and it's actually good to talk?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think there's probably always been that kind of stigma of you kind of have to be tough and you kind of have to bottle things up and get on with things. But I think more and more with the help of Mind and the fact that they've obviously combined with the EFL, I think it is obviously opening a lot of people's eyes really to it, and making it seem that it is acceptable to talk about your feelings and to be down, and because everybody gets down and has down moments and down times. So to be there for each other is brilliant, and people around you, they're the ones that are going to get you out of those sort of times really. So yeah, I think over the past obviously couple of years, it's been getting better and better with it really. I've got a great bunch of lads in our changing room, and I think it may have been last season we started to do a thing where we have mentors. So we have about 6 of us, probably the more senior lads, myself one of them, where we assign ourselves each other 3 or 4 players. And for that season, we kind of make sure, because obviously it's hard to keep an eye on every single player at the time, but we kind of sectioned it off where we keep an eye on the 3 or 4 players that we've been assigned to, and keep an eye on their progress and try and keep them feeling good about their game there. Because at the end of the day, obviously we're all in it together. We all want to be as successful as we can as a team. So it's almost like a family really, as you all know what it's like. So yeah, I think it is known to people more and more that it's okay to talk about things, and well, if it's needed, then do it. Don't be ashamed. Don't be shy. Don't be ashamed of who you are as a person or your feelings, because that's what makes you you.
Mm. And in the long run, it's only going to help you out rather than just keeping it in all the time. Great idea. Who came up with that?
So I think initially we had a sports psychologist called, his name was Scott actually, but I can't remember his surname. But he was actually in the army, and he was quite. I think he did a training thing with England. I don't know if you've come across it or not. So he's done a bit of work with England first team actually over the summer where they got to the World Cup. So I think he's had quite a successful career. So he introduced that idea, and we all fell in love with the idea really, got on board straight away, and it worked out really well for us. So yeah.
Yeah, fantastic idea. And you touched on it there, the partnership between Mind and the EFL. How important do you feel that is?
Yeah, massive. Obviously we're very lucky and privileged that we do have a bit of a platform as footballers. Obviously we do get a lot of recognition, and we do bring a lot of joy to people's lives. But obviously watching football, some people's passions, and it is a brilliant game, a brilliant sport, and it brings so many happy times and so many people together. I know my dad who loved the game. He's got friends of over 40 years obviously through the game. I feel like now he's trying to live his dream through me a little bit, which is nice.
My dad was the same. Don't worry about that one. My dad was exactly. He was I don't want to say a failed footballer, but I will say a failed footballer. He would have loved to have been a player. His
Yeah,
favourite job, even now, would be a scout, just to go and
yeah,
watch football. He wouldn't care what type of standards at all. So
yeah.
yeah, he certainly enjoyed my career.
Yeah, it's similar to mine. My dad's taken early retirement and he watches all games, all the under-18s, all of every game he can. He just loves it. So, but yeah, I think obviously the fact that EFL and mine, they're still a new partnership, but they have been going from strength to strength really with all of these new events, campaigns. So yeah, hopefully they can continue their good work, which I'm sure they'll do so, because it does give us a chance to show other people that we are just humans as well, us footballers, and we can be affected by things, and it's more than okay for you to be. So we try and be role models where we can, and try and get involved with everything that we can within the community, really. So, yeah.
So look, just finally, Will, really enjoyed the chat, by the way. What advice would you give to football fans out there in terms of staying mentally positive as much as possible, and especially at the moment without football in their lives?
Similar, really. Try and keep active. Try and keep positive. If you have old recordings of old football games, old good times, I know I'm actually still in the group chat with all of the boys when we got promoted back in 2016, and I think that was. I know I've got a good team spirit now, but that was probably the best team spirit I've ever been a part of, and I do believe the reason we got promoted that season was how good our team spirit was. So, and I know it was on TV the other week, the flashback of it when we beat Plymouth in the playoff final, and
I
all of
did
the
that
boys.
game. I did that game. I
Yeah,
was inside that
remember?
game. Yeah.
Yeah. And we had all of the boys talking about it on the WhatsApp chat. Oh, get it on now, and they're all loving it. So if you can find an old recording or an old DVD, whatever it be, then put it on and watch it and think back to those happy times and happy memories, because hopefully they will come again soon. Or just keep active in the garden. Maybe go to the park if you've got a little one. Then kick a little ball around with them. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's tough. It is tough, but you just got to keep in your mind, keep going over it. Things will get better. We're at a low at the minute, so it has to get better. It has to go up. So
Yeah. Or if you've got a little dog, take him to the park and throw a little
that's
ball
it.
around. A little cocker
First
spaniel.
of all.
Exactly. Listen,
Yeah.
Will, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much indeed. As you rightly say, the campaign of mine is Have Your Mates Back. It's all about looking after each other, talking, physical exercise, trying to stay positive. And you're right, this will be over. So thank you very much. We appreciate your time today. And remember, if you need any further information or advice, just visit mind.org.uk. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Scott. Likewise, it's been a pleasure, mate.